Have you been wondering which character should you main in Marvel Rivals? Well, you've come to the right place. Hello, I'm Mr. Rivals, and welcome to the Alpha Marvel Rivals tier list to decide which characters are good, which characters are bad, and which characters do I want to marry. So yeah, let's get right into it. For the first character we're looking at is Hulk. In Hulk's human form, he has a Gamma pistol that has 20 bullets. It's okay. Now for his ultimate, he transforms into Hero Hulk. It's pretty useful. For his first ability, he has Gamma Burst, does damage to opponents. It's pretty simple. For his second ability, he creates a Gamma Shield, applying it to him and his allies. If his shield is damaged, it charges his ult. For his ult, he transforms into Monster Hulk, boosting all his damage and making his basic attack do not back damage. It also makes Gamma Burst linger, doing extra damage. Now, for his next ability, Incredible Leap, he leaps up and slams down on opponents, stunning them. For his ultimate, he transforms and slams his enemies. You might be wondering, why is Hulk in D tier and not higher up in like C or B tier? Well, basically, there's one reason. He's a melee character. In Marvel Rivals, most characters have good movement. And if you're a melee character, you can't hit characters from close range if they're not close to you. So Hulk can't hit him. He also has a massive hitbox, especially in his ultimate, and he has a lot of times when he's using his abilities when he's vulnerable. After Incredible Leap, during the ultimate, he's a sitting duck. He has a massive hitbox, meaning he can be sprayed down pretty easily, and most characters can absolutely shred him. Like, for example, Punisher's turret. For our next character, we have Penny Parker. Her first ability is basically a web, allowing her to stun enemies. Second ability, she deploys a spider mine that can do damage. Next one is a web sling. Basically, just can swing herself. She can also wall climb and swing towards her, web swing, if you just saw before. Her ultimate deploys these claws that knock back opponents, and she basically drops the mines, all her webs, when she's running around. It's pretty useful, and can be used to deal a lot of damage, and can also be good as crowd control. You might be wondering, where does Dear O Penny go? Well, she goes in D tier. The main reason she goes in D tier is she is outclassed, as Doctor Strange, Groot, and Magneto are way better tanks. I'll mention that more when I get up to them. The other reason is her abilities are pretty weak, as when you use her web sling, after one time, the enemies know where you're going to swing to. You don't have multiple options to go to. You have that one option, and they can, if I'm correct, break it. So that takes away your movement. Her ultimates, like I mentioned before with Hulk, they can just grapple away. They can just move out of your ult, and then it's basically just useless. And if you're running around like that, you're dropping mines, yes, but they just know, don't get close to her. She's pretty easy to counter, and that's one of the main reasons why she's in D tier. For Black Panther, his main attack is a swipe. He also has a vibrating spear. He launches at opponents. He can also do this dash that swipes. He also has this second dash that does multiple moves. He can run on walls. That's pretty cool. And has this double jump. His ultimate, he summons his massive Black Panther that does AoE damage. You might be wondering, where does Black Panther go? Well, if you've been watching the video since the start, you can probably guess we're doing this in ascending order. Meaning Black Panther goes in D tier. Black Panther struggles and a lot of reasons why, like, Hulk struggles. One, he's a melee character, meaning you have to get up close. Two, all his attacks, dashes, yes, it can be good, but he does not do much damage. His passive, if you care, he does more damage at lower health. He generally is not a good character. Just by playing him and showing off his kit, his ultimate's pretty okay for AoE. But in my opinion, Iron Man's just Unibeam is way better than Black Panther's ultimate. He's a pretty weak character at that, sadly. Magneto's first ability is a shield. You can see he uses it on Scarlet Witch. The second ability is this infuse that he can do as a team up. Then he also has this barrier similar to Reinhardt's. His base attack just these pulse, and he charge it. And his ultimate, he creates a massive metal meteor. You might be wondering, where does Magneto go? Well, Magneto goes into B tier. Also, I've removed D tier because I feel like it's unnecessary. I feel like C, B, and A and S describe them better. But basically, the reason Magneto goes in B tier is a few reasons. One, his shield is very good, allowing his team to move forward on an objective or retreat, while making sure him and his team don't take damage. He also has a shield that he can apply to allies. It's very beefy and can be very good. And his team up is that Scarlet Witch can infuse Magneto's Shinshin sword with Chaos Energy, allowing it to do more damage. This is really good because Scarlet Witch is one of the most played characters right now, meaning you can use the team up a lot, and the sword does a lot of damage. It's like a version of Magic's Blade, but you only get 3 uses of it. And his ultimate's very good, allowing him to clear out sections for his team to move forward. He basically is a really good tank. Now for Namor, his basic attack is just a trident throw. His first ability is his charged up one. For second ability, he gets launched into the air and goes into his bubble. He cannot deal damage, but also cannot deploy abilities. His next ability is these turrets he can spawn that do damage to opponents. They're pretty useful. Now for his ultimate, he creates this giant rail that rains down onto his opponents, doing AoE damage. You might be wondering, where does Namor go? Well, Namor goes in B tier. Namor goes in B tier for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that, well, he has a projectile attack. He shoots a single trident that can go upwards, it can go straight, downward. It's pretty useful to get characters that are flying. That's why he's not in C tier. If he was a melee, he'd probably be in C. And his turrets can be good for some extra damage. His, shield that flies up can be useful. You can cancel it at any time. Forgot to mention that before. So it can be pretty useful. He also has a team up with Luna Snow. Luna Snow is an S tier character. So that's why he's bumped up, because you're going to be able to use this a lot. As basically, Luna Snow infuses him with her ice powers, allowing him to infuse his abilities, making his turrets do more damage. It's pretty nice. So that's why he's in B tier. For Doctor Strange's first ability, he creates a shield blocking enemies' fire. When Doctor Strange fires, he charges up dark magic that he can release using an ability. His ultimate separates enemies' souls from their bodies. When it's damaged the soul, it applies to the enemy. His final ability, he creates this portal, and basically where he's standing, and then he chooses a spot he can place it. And basically, this teleports him. You can also shoot through it, and you can see from the clip, it absolutely kills your FPS. You might be wondering, where does Doctor Strange go? Well, he goes in A tier, and there's a few reasons for that. One, his shield is way better than Magneto's, and Magneto's exposes the lower half of players. The second reason is Doctor Strange's ultimate is absolutely broken, as it separates the soul from the body. When players damage the soul after the body and soul are reconnected, the player will take that damage, but if I'm correct, it's reduced because, it's free shots at them. The dark magic ability can be good and bad. The problem is this: if you are not close to your opponents, your dark magic releasing kind of wastes the ability. So you need to make sure you get close to your opponents before releasing it. And his portal is absolutely broken, as he can use it to flank or to get to objectives straight away. But the one downside is the portal has like a 3-minute cooldown. For our next character, we have Spider-Man. He can shoot webs out of his web shooter, marking opponents, and can also deal melee damage with some kicks and punches. He can pull opponents towards him and also uppercut them up. He can also swing in any Spider-Man game, and wall climb. Now for his ultimate, he shoots a bunch of webs, string up his opponents. Now, he can also run on walls and double jump. It's pretty good. If you have watched other tier lists, you're going to guess I will put him in B or C tier. Well, he's going in A tier, because this is how good the character is, and in high level, Spider-Man is very good. There's a few reasons why. One, he has a lot of mobility with a double jump, can climb walls, he can run on walls, and he also has web sling. He's also very good with combos, as you saw in the clip. You can pull someone towards them, then uppercut them up to deal some extra damage, and his projectiles do a lot of damage too. That's why people put him lower down, because he's hard to aim with, and the best part of his kit is his ultimate, and if enough projectiles hit him, they get strung up, basically stunned of sorts. And it's auto. For our next character, we have Groot. He can create a wall, and when nearby enemies are near this wall, it grants Groot more HP. It's pretty useful. And, yeah. Then he has these mini walls. They're a bit smaller, but he can place up to 3 of them. And then he also has a basic attack. He can also throw down this bomb of sorts that explodes, doing damage to opponents, and his ultimate's like this massive AoE. It's pretty useful for Groot. After looking at Groot's kit, he's going in A tier. The main reason is because of his walls, as they allow his team to move forwards and retreat, and it also provides his team with buffs, as when opponents take damage while they're nearby the Ironwood wall, it gives Groot more health, allowing Groot to have an extra, HP. It's very useful as a tank. His second walls, aka the Fallen Lash walls, the smaller walls, when Groot and his allies deal damage to opponents and they're nearby these walls, the walls will attack him too, making sure if a team is chasing after you and you damage them and place down these walls, the walls will also provide extra damage. And his Spore Bomb and his ultimate are both very good for crowd control to get enemies out of the way, so you can place down those walls and armor up there. He also has a team up with Rocket, but I'll talk about that more when we get up to Rocket. If a character has a team up with another character and that character gains something, the other one will just gain a buff. Just telling you that in the future when I mention team ups. For our next character, we have Daddy Loki. Daddy Loki shoots an explosive projectile out of his staff. Since Daddy Loki is a support, his first ability is this healing turret. If you stand in its range, it heals you. He also spawned this clone. At any point, he can switch places with his clone. If him and his clone both have line of sight of the same enemy, they can both shoot at the same one, dealing extra damage. Loki can also go invisible, allowing him to get away from fights since he's fairly low health since he's a support. It allows him to reposition too. It's very useful. Loki can also transform to any character for his ultimate, and when he transforms, he instantly gets his ultimate. So, you might be thinking I'm going to put him in S tier since I call him Daddy Loki. Well, I don't play favorites on the channel, so he's done in B tier. The main reason is because of his ultimate. His ultimate is very situational, as in any game where a character has an ultimate to swap to another character, it's very situational because you need to factor in, does your team or the enemy team have an ultimate that can counter the enemy team? Is the enemy team playing a character that can counter themselves? Are you playing a character that can counter? Because if you have neither, the ult is basically useless. You can make it work. Let's say double Lunar Snow ult, that's absolutely broken. Double Dot Strange, absolutely amazing. It has its goods, but it has its bad. It's very situational, very. And its other abilities are just okay. The turrets can be good. Not turrets, clones. The clones are basically just turrets. And his swap places can be good to position, but he's a support, not a DPS. When allies stand in Storm's ring, it boosts their movement speed and you also switch to damage. Storm can also empower her damage with a special ability. She'll also drop lightning bolts every so often. It's good for extra damage. And she can also create a Mega 1 too while in that form. It's pretty useful. Her ultimate is this massive tornado, and you gain 450 HP. You can be killed in this ultimate too. After having a brief summary of Storm's kit, I have a lot to explain to you, but I'm putting her in C tier. Basically, how Storm's kit works is she has a ring around her. When you fly up, the ring shrinks, so you want to stay down. You can switch between damage and speed boost. Anyone inside that ring will get that buff. Her other ability is that you buff her. Buff one of those attributes, so speed or damage, and while in damage, aka thunder, you shoot these massive thunderbolts. So that's a quick summary of her kit. I put her in C tier because she's a DPS. Yes, Storm's under DPS. She's not a support. She's meant to do damage. In my opinion, she's not really a good damage. She'd be killed pretty easily, and there's just better characters, so that's why she's in C tier. Editing ShrubHub here. Just telling you, in that clip, I had D tier still here. If you're wondering, Storm is in B tier and everyone else is upper tier. Just telling you that. For our next character, we have Rocket Raccoon. For his first ability, he throws down this totem that can revive a fallen ally and provide health packs to his team. He can also dash around using his jetpack and can fly up and down. It's pretty useful. For his ultimate, he places down this other totem that applies a big damage boost to all of his team. It's a pretty nice supporting factor. His shots, if they hit allies, can also heal him because he's a support. And one of his team up abilities is he can ride Groot, applying a damage reduction to him. So, after looking at Rocket's gameplay, I am going to be putting him in A tier. The reason Rocket's going in A tier is because he offers support as it's an instant revive, so if your tank's down and you need numbers, you can just place it down and get a teammate back, and it gives you extra support with extra heals, and that's what you want in a support. And he has some good team-ups. He also has a team-up with Punisher, where he can basically place down this turret that provides Punisher with infinite ammo, so he doesn't have to reload, and a damage boost. Here's that combo with Groot. That's one of the most simple combos in the game, allowing new players to adjust to it. And Groot's also A tier, so you'll be able to use that a lot. And his dash jetpack is just very good for getting around and supporting your team. So that's why he's an A tier. For our next character, we have Mantis. Her first ability is being able to heal her allies for a duration. Her second ability is the Sleep Grenade that puts her opponents to sleep. Her next ability is her ultimate that basically provides a health regen and speed buff to her allies. She also applied damage buff to her allies too. After analysing Mantis' kit, we're putting her in B tier. The first reason is because her sleep grenade does not last that long, and after being hit a few times while being slept, you just wake up, and since Mantis is a healer, she's not that beefy, so she can be killed pretty quickly. Another reason is because of how her entire kit works, with her needing health orbs to use her abilities. So, if you have a lot of health orbs, you can use these abilities multiple times. That's why these abilities aren't that strong at all. All it is a small health healing or some damage buff. But in my opinion, characters do buffing better, like Storm, for example. And her ultimate, in my opinion, is not the best. And there's better support ultimates out there, like Rocket or Lunar Snow. For Lunar Snow's first ability, she applies an Ice Charm to an ally, healing them over time. Her second ability is this cluster of Ice Shards. For her ultimate, you can pick between healing and damage, and she sings and dances during it. She is not invulnerable during the ultimate, by the way. For her final ability, I forgot it, it freezes opponents. After looking at Lunar Snow's kit, we're putting her in S tier. The main reasons is her healing is absolutely amazing. As I forgot to mention, with her healing charm, when it's on an ally, if she heals other allies, that heals that one even more. So that's even better. And her ultimate provides so much healing. You should see it in game. It is so good, because anyone in the radius is healed. And you can also pick damage buff too, if you want that. So if you're winning, you get damage. If you're losing, you need some extra health. Use the healing. And the ice thing is very good. It's going to be used to cancel ultimates. What makes characters gameplay in such as Scarlet Witch? You just cancel it with an ice, like an ice freeze. As you saw, I used it on Iron Man. Her ice shards are okay. They're just good for some extra damage for Lunar Snow. So that's why she's an S tier. For our next character, we have Iron Man. He can shoot regular repulsors, and his second attack is a Unibeam. This is not an ability, this is part of his basic kit. He can also have enhanced flight, just for better flight. While he's in enhanced flight, he can shoot missiles out. He can also enhance himself, allowing his Unibeam and regular attack to be stronger. In this form, he can also shoot missiles. It's pretty good. And see, it enhances his Unibeam too. His ultimate is like massive explosion, doing a lot of damage. After looking at Mr. Stark's kit, he's going in S tier. And that's not because he paid me $1 million to say that. It's half because of that. One, his goddamn part of his base kit is a Unibeam. I thought it was an ability. No, all I have to do is right click on my mouse and bam shabam, I have a Unibeam. And his left click is also just a regular fire. He can fly, meaning he can get people out of the sky and move around really quickly using an other ability. He can enhance his abilities to make the Unibeam even more better. He has rockets that are targeting. These are on auto lock. If an opponent's nearby, you can swoop down and just rocket them. And his ultimate is absolutely amazing. This character is just perfect. For magic, she can just swing her sword around for a basic attack. She can also shoot a long-range projectile. She can also go through a portal and do this like swing. She can also knock enemies upwards like Spider-Man. For her ultimate, magic goes into a Dark Child form and will generally everything enhanced. When she comes out, she also spawns any little demons to do extra damage. This form enhances all of her attacks. And it's pretty useful. Now for magic, where does she go? Well, sadly, she goes in B tier. The main reason is because she's a melee character. It's the same thing that happened with Hulk and Black Panther. Then the reason she got upper tier is because she has movement, and when she damages opponents, she gains a bit of health. But it's not enough to really sustain keeping doing melee, as a lot of characters, as you've seen, can fly or away get vulnerable or just knock you out if you're too close to them. So that's why she's sadly in B tier. She's still a really good character, but there's going to be too many characters in the higher up tiers, aka A tier, to make another spot for her. Now we have Punisher. For his left click, he has a rifle, allowing him to do long range, and the best part of him, for his right click, he has a shotgun. Best of both worlds. It's really good. For his next ability, he has a turret. In this turret, he has to command it, and he's very vulnerable, meaning he can be easily sniped by opponents. For his next ability, he can place down the zipline, but only he can use it, not allies, just him. For his ultimate, he gains these 2 machine guns and can absolutely spray some rockets. Very good for crowd control and dealing with a lot of opponents. After looking at Daddy Pow Pow, he's doing an A tier. This is the character that just beat out Magic. The main reasons is because he has very good gunplay, as he has a rifle for long range, a shotgun for close range, a turret to heat damage on opponents. The problem with that turret is you're very vulnerable, and he has a zip line. Problem with the zip line, only he can use it. So yeah. And his ultimate is good. It's very good for like team wiping, but in my opinion, he's not the best character, and there are better. For our next character, we have Star-Lord. His first ability is this roll that instantly reloads his weapons. He also has this flight that allows him to fly around, pretty good for movement. He also has this like auto aim, multi-fire, very good for dealing with opponents and finishing them off. And his ultimate is just like this auto lock onto enemies, allowing you to absolutely gun them down. After looking at Papa Star's kit, he is going in S tier. 1, he has very good movement, allowing him to flank and get to places he needs. He also instantly reloads when he does the roll, allowing you to get straight back into the action. His ultimate is an auto aim that allows you to have a speed boost and fly. That's really good because it's the best of both worlds. But you can just fly above the enemies and absolutely laser them. And guess what? The multi-fire is really good at finishing off opponents, so it's perfect. He's a perfect character for a DPS. It's what you want a DPS to be. For our next character, we have Mummy Hela. Her first ability is Barrage of Daggers, pretty useful. For her second ability, she turns into a crow and can be cancelled at any time. For movement, her next ability is basically a stun. You can stun opponents with it. For her ultimate, she goes upwards and gains a bunch of HP. She can basically shoot down these massive explosive bombs, spawning crows to do damage after a short duration. After looking at Mummy Hela, she is going in A tier. In my opinion, she has a very strong ultimate, but you can be gunned out of it, so there are counters, and you're stuck in the same place while using it, but you can get really good damage. Her flight is okay, in my opinion, not the best, not the worst. The stun is useful to keep enemies in place and laser them, so pretty good. And her dagger barrage is okay. I forgot to tell you her team up. If Loki and her are in the same team and Hela gets a final blow and Loki is dead, Loki will instantly respawn there. That's why she's in A tier. She buffs Daddy Loki. That's absolutely amazing. And if she gets the final blow and Loki is alive, Loki gets a health pack. It's amazing. That's why she's in A tier. She's pretty good though. For our final character, we have Scarlet Witch. Her auto attack, auto lock's pretty good. For her next ability, she can fire these explosive shots. She can also glide around, pretty useful, and she goes invisible. For her ultimate, she charges it up, and basically, if you're in her line of sight, run. It will instantly kill you. And her next ability, she throws down this orb of sorts, and if you're stuck in it, when it activates, you're stuck in the bubble for a bit. For our last character, Scarlet Witch, she will be going in S tier. The reasons is her main attack auto lock, so it's free damage without aiming. Her ultimate is absolutely broken. If you saw in that clip, it killed 5 bots. And if you basically can see her using the ult, run, otherwise you are dead. Her ball is good to make sure people can't get away from you, and her invisibility / her glide, it's in one ability and you get free charge of it, is really good to flank and to relocate. It's pretty nice. So yeah, we're going to do one adjustment to this tier list, and that is Namor dropping to C tier solely because out of all the DPSs, he, in my opinion, is a bit weaker than before, so he's in C tier. So yeah, those are where all the Marvel Rivals characters go in Alpha, in my opinion. Just telling you, this is my opinion. So don't get angry in the comments. So yeah, make sure to keep rivaling, and I'll see you guys next video. Goodbye.